Momentum is key to success. Momentum keeps you going even when you hit bumps along the way. Momentum leverages your wins so they can consistently get bigger and bigger. But how do you create momentum, especially when you find yourself barely moving or at a dead stop? We're going to talk about that today, coming up. Hi, I'm Kris Dillard, and on this channel, we're here to prove that when you quiet your mind, your true self comes out, which brings you happiness, which brings you massive awareness, which brings you success. And if you're new here, hit the subscribe button if you want an easier time realizing your true potential. Now let's talk about momentum, especially how to get started. Because this question comes up a lot. People ask, how do I build up enough momentum so that I can see gains start happening, so things can get easier for me? Now, if this is you, you're probably not going to like my answer. That's because I can't give it to you. Self-motivation comes from where? Can you guess it? Yourself. Only you can take that step that's going to get you moving. And if it's a scary step, if it's a difficult step, well, I'm sorry. You're just going to have to suck it up and take it. But here's my question to you. Are you willing to get courageous? Or are you just going to sit around and listen to your mind? Because that's the problem, isn't it? All your mind does is demoralize you, or fills you up with fear, or get you into resistance. Now, let me share a simple but personal example. I love cycling, especially when I was living in the San Francisco Bay Area. I would go riding for a good distance, about 30, 40 miles. And I'd do a lot of climbing up in the mountains there. It's beautiful. But even days that I would specifically set aside to go riding, I would sometimes find it difficult to get myself out the door. And that's because my mind would start up with me. Oh, it's going to be torture. I'm not in the mood. I'm too tired. It's too cold. I'd rather watch TV. And trust me, it's very easy to succumb to these thoughts. So I'd have to literally push myself. Nope, I'm not going to drag my feet. I'm not going to make any excuses. I'm just going to grab my stuff and get out the door. And here's the thing. Once I got over this initial lack of momentum, I got myself moving, everything else was easy. Before I knew it, my energy was up. I was having a great time. And I was so grateful that I got my butt out the door. So this is something that just ultimately, it starts with you. You just make a decision. I'm doing it. That's it. No excuses. I'm getting it done. And I don't care what the results are. I'm just taking action, right? Any action. See, any action is at all is better than no action. Now that being said, let me show you how to do it. Let me show you how to take the first step. And let me show you how it's actually easy. In fact, the answer is right in front of you. Because this is another mistake in our thinking. I just don't know where to start. Garbage. You start where you're at right now. Let me show you. Just think about something that you're stuck in. Maybe you want to start a new business. Maybe you want to start a new workout program. And you just can't seem to get started. Or maybe you're in a more serious situation. Everything's a struggle right now. I know what that's like. Nothing's going your way. So where do you start? Start right now by just seeing where you're at and just noticing your state. Not just your state around you, but your state in here. And your attitude about what's going on right now. And can you see you don't like what's going on? You don't like your present situation. You'd rather be somewhere else. You'd rather be in more momentum rather than in Stuckville. So, for lack of better words, you're disapproving of what's going on. Now, look at it this way. What's going on, sure, it's kind of a negative thing. It's not alive, it's not active, it's not positive. So you got a negative situation, like a pocket of negative energy here. And by disapproving of it, what are you accomplishing? You're just feeding it more negativity, right? And all you have to do is just assess, how long have you been disapproving of the situation? A long time, right? And yet, by disapproving of it, that hasn't changed the situation, has it? You're still here, and disapproving, notice, it's getting heavier and heavier, more and more stuck, more and more negative. I wonder why. And you're doing that, aren't you? You're the one who's disapproving of the situation. That's your choice. It's nobody else's choice but you. So, that being revealed here, now it's a decision that's up to you to make. I'm going to be positive and be loving. I'm going to love the situation. I'm going to love myself. Or I'm just going to continue beating everything up. Now, which do you prefer? Well, the right answer is to be positive, right? I mean, what's going to get you towards your goal? Being negative or being positive? Positive. And that's your decision now. So can you just decide? I am going for positive. I'm going to be loving no matter what. And my ability to love does not depend on the situation. You see, because otherwise you're giving your power away to the stuckness, to the situation. Because it's there, I'm unhappy. You see what a mind trip that is? And you're doing it. So the way out of it here is to decide, hey, I'm going to be happy no matter what. I'm going to be loving no matter what. So again, what do you decide? Now, with that decision to be positive, this puts you in a powerful position here, because now you can make the next decision here. Could you let go of disapproving of the situation? And this is a simple yes or no answer. It's a decision, yes or no. Could you let go of disapproving of this stuck state? Could you let go of disapproving of what's going on? Just a little bit, not too much, just a tiny bit. Give it a shot. And could you let go disapproving of it a little bit more? And could you let go disapproving of it even more? And could you let go disapproving of it even more? And even more. And even more. And could you let go disapproving of it even more? And even more. And even more. And even more. And notice, just with every decision, every time you decide a little bit more, let it go a little bit more, and a little bit more, you get lighter, and a little bit lighter, and a little bit lighter with each decision to let go of beating up on what's happening. So could you let go disapproving of it a little bit more? And could you let go disapproving of yourself? When we find ourselves stuck like this, we tend to judge ourselves. Oh, look at what I did. Look at all the poor choices I made in life that led me to where I'm at here. And all these are just stories. And you have a choice. You could listen to the stories and continue to be negative. Keep listening to your mind, which always complains, doesn't it? Or you can realize who you are, who you are, the one who's listening to that mind, that voice in your head who's talking to you. Talking to you. Who are you? See, you can identify with you, the real you, the presence that is here in this moment. And it's from here where you make these decisions. I'm going to be positive and love myself, or I'm going to be negative and beat myself up. So it's not up to your mind. Your mind will suggest it to you, but it's you who ultimately makes a decision to go along with it. Now, could you let go disapproving of yourself? And could you let go disapproving of yourself a little bit more? And could you let go disapproving of yourself even more? And could you let go disapproving of yourself even more? And even more. And even more. And could you let go disapproving of yourself even more? And even more. And even more. And notice how you feel. Just see if you feel lighter. That's just a sign, a signal that we're moving in the right direction. And not so bad. If you feel lighter, how awesome is that? And who did that? You did. All right, so now, could you give yourself some approval? Just because. No reason. Just because it's today. And could you give yourself some more approval? And could you give yourself some more approval? And could you give yourself even more approval? And a little bit more. And it's not a complicated thing. It's not telling yourself all sorts of stories about how wonderful you are. It's just simply, could you like yourself? That's it. Could you just like yourself? In fact, could you even love yourself? And could you love yourself even more? And even more. And how does this feel? And notice what you're doing now. See, you're being positive. And take a look at the situation. See if you're less bothered than you were a few moments ago. And see if it's more possible to get moving where you're at now. See, everything can turn on a dime right now in this moment, as long as you just start with where you are. You keep it simple. Where am I at? What am I doing now in this moment? And make the smart decision to get positive, to get loving. Now, also, can you see that you've been fighting with the stuckness? You've been trying to figure it out, finding the answer. You've been trying to wrestle it, change it, wrestle with yourself because you don't like where you are now and you want to be somewhere else. And by fighting with the situation as it is now, that's not getting you anywhere, is it? And I wonder why. Maybe everything is a picture. Like everything in your mind is just a picture that you're projecting. In fact, all your mind does is deal in pictures. Like if I say, don't fall down, what do you get a picture of? Falling down. So your mind just goes right to the image. And when you're fighting with something, what's on your mind constantly? The problem. Not the solution, the problem. Now, what if the mind is only creative? Like whatever you hold in mind, that's what you get. That's what the law of attraction is all about, right? Hold in mind what you want, and that's what you create. And we're all trying to figure out how to do that, and we're all creating a bunch of crap. But where is that coming from? It's coming from that negativity, that fighting with it, because you're holding in mind the problem. Now, whether or not this makes sense to you, one thing is absolutely clear here. You've been fighting with it. And how long have you been fighting with it? A while, right? Maybe even years. And after all this time of fighting with it, nothing has changed, right? So obviously, this strategy doesn't work so well, and it doesn't feel so good. So let's try something different. Just follow along. Could you let go of resisting the stuckness now? Could you let go of resisting it just a little bit? And could you let go of wanting to change it? Could you let that go a little bit more? And could you give it permission to be here? Instead of rejecting what is here now and wanting to be somewhere else in the future or just somewhere else, could you just accept that it's here? Give it permission to be here. In fact, could you even allow it to be here? And could you move towards it and surrender to it? Try this out. Just surrender to it. And surrender to it a little bit more. How do you surrender? Well, you just let go of pushing it away. And just move towards it. Now, to make this a little bit more clear, sure, this situation, you have a story about it. You know, there's a situation, there's a whole story about how long you've been stuck with it and what your problems are and all that stuff. That's all stories in the mind. But there's also a feeling here with this stuckness, right? This, that sort of a feeling. And you don't like that feeling. And you've been wanting to either push that feeling away or escape from it or bury it so it just, you don't have to feel it, right? So let's look at it this way. The stuckness, it isn't so much the story, because, you know, we have all these thoughts and stuff, but what really gives them weight is the emotion, the feeling here, right? So could you let go of wanting to be separate from this feeling? Instead, just allow yourself to feel it. Just, you know, let go of your resistance to it. Just open up and feel it. Allow yourself to feel it a little bit more. And a little bit more. And a little bit more. And even more. And could you surrender to it? Just surrender to this feeling. Let go of any judgments about it. Let go of placing any value on it. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just a feeling. It's not right, it's not wrong. It's just a sensation. I allow myself to feel it without any judgment, without any story, just a feeling. Just feel the feeling. And surrender to this feeling a little bit more. And surrender to it a little bit more. And notice how you feel when you surrender to it. It all opens up. And what seems like a harsh, terrible feeling, it just kind of melts away like hot butter. So could you surrender to it even more? And even more. And even more. And notice how you feel. Now can you surrender to the whole story of stuckness, the situation here? Just surrender to it. Give yourself permission to be stuck. And surrender to this state that's going on in your life. Just surrender to it. And surrender to it even more. And 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 notice how you feel. See if it feels like there's still an obstacle here. Or does it feel more free? Just notice. And notice if you feel freer to take action now. See if you're more imperturbable, even about the results. Like, you're okay, whatever happens. You're okay even if you make a mistake, even if you fail. In other words, you're okay just taking the action, just for the love of being in the action. Not because of the trophy at the end of the line that you're hoping to get. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And see if you can just love your journey. Even if you're taking the first step of what may be a lot of steps ahead, so what? I'm not in a fight to get anywhere. I'm okay. Right? So just notice. And notice if it's more possible to just get moving and take action. So this is being imperturbable. And by the way, being imperturbable is the key here. And it's so important. That's why I'm going to be doing another video about that. Being imperturbable about the results. So we could stop focusing so much on the prize that we're hoping to get. And we can be with ourselves, where we're at, and we could be happy with ourselves. That's the key to success. So I'm going to be shooting some more stuff. I'm going to make a whole series here on momentum, which is a good reason to subscribe if you haven't yet. But right now, just see if you feel lighter, more courageous, more capable of taking action, of being yourself. And here's my question to you. What action are you willing to jump in now and get yourself dirty in? Just take action right now, regardless of the consequences. Do you feel freer to take that first step? Let me know in the comments below what you're willing to do. I really want to know what you're doing and how you're moving forward. And if you like this, let me know. I'll do even more like this. And thanks for showing up. I appreciate you being here and joining me on this wonderful journey to inner and outer freedom. Now, I'll see you next time.